This podcast replay is brought to you by Choice Mortgage Bank. Fixed mortgage rates under 3.5%. Military veterans, 0 down, 100% financing. Call the owner's cell phone right now. Michael Codsey, 561-441-2730. That's 561-441-2730.
Oh, we got Ben Allbright for you, sir.
All right, we are ready to rock and roll. Benjamin Allbright. You can, of course, follow him on Twitter at Allbright NFL. Benjamin is kind enough to join us. You can catch him at KOA in Denver doing his thing. Mr. Allbright, good morning, sir, because it is morning for you still over there.
Can hear you. Can you hear me?
I got you, baby. There we go. It's a beautiful thing. All right, follow Benjamin on Twitter at Allbright NFL. Hey, I saw you were tweeting about Locke. So what do you think ends up happening with the Broncos? When does the kid debut?
Well, it could be as soon as this weekend. I talked to a couple players this week. They all seem to think he's going to be the guy, unless the coaching staff talks themselves out of it. But no later than the Lions game, but it could be as early as this weekend. And like I said, the players at this point, they're pretty sure that it's going to be this weekend.
I had two project guys I liked in the middle rounds. One was Jarrett Stidham, and the other guy was Drew Lock. I thought both those guys, especially with Stidham, when I saw him at the Senior Bowl, I was really impressed with him, and I thought he was one of those cats that had the goods to be a player in the league. Now, does he turn into one? Well, we don't know. With Locke, I thought so too, man. I thought I saw NFL arm in that kid. I know that, at times it's a little erratic. What do you hear about him? What are they working on? What do they say he's improved? Why do they think he might be ready to start? Give us that info.
Well, he's been on the injured reserve. First half of the season, he banged his thumb up. But Drew Lock is one of those guys that's shown progression with every practice, with every game. I should go back and watch the preseason games. That first game wasn't all that great. But, as the preseason wore on and the game slowed down for a minute, he starts to get it. He's just one of those guys who's hyper-consumed with learning, not making the same mistake twice. And he understands that he comes out of an offense at Missouri that's not exactly prepared him for the pro game. So he's buckled down and tried to do extra study while he was injured, to include buying and purchasing a virtual reality set and allowing him to do some virtual reality practice while he was on the IR.
Wow, that's pretty good stuff. Were you a fan of his when he got drafted? Did you think that was a good pick?
Well, yes, and actually, I was hopeful they would take him. Funny story. The day before the draft, or 2 days before the draft, ESPN was filming these prospects path to the draft thing that they do down there. We were all there in Nashville. I actually sat between him and Stidham while they were getting their haircut. We were all getting haircuts at the Pioneer. Got a chance to talk to them, and both those guys are just high wattage personalities. They're the kids that get it, and I really hope that they succeed at the NFL level so people can kind of see those personalities shine through.
Oh, so you were a Stidham guy too? You liked him also?
Yeah, big fan of his. Buddy of mine, coworker of mine who passed on, the legendary Herb Brown. His son, Greg Brown, was a DB's coach at Auburn there and told me to keep an eye on Stidham and said that he was going to be something in the league. So.
Yeah, I was, as a Dolphin fan, I was just pissed that New England ended up taking him, and maybe Belichick got his guy again after having to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. All right, Benjamin, I know you follow the draft too, and here in Miami, it's just like Elway trying to find that QB, and they're hoping that they found it in Drew Lock down the line. First of all, how are you looking at the Tua situation? If you're the Miami Dolphins, you've got 3 first-round picks. Which first-round pick would you spend on him, or are you passing on him and you think he's more of a second-round pick and on because of the injury history?
Well, I think you got to look at that injury history for sure, and you have to have your medical staff go over with a fine-tooth comb. And if they give you the okay, then you go ahead and spend the top pick that you got if you're convinced he's your guy. If you're not convinced he's your guy, then just pass altogether. Don't burn a pick on a guy who might be the guy. Well, use those picks on guys you think are the guy. And, I looking at Tua's tape here and there, I see a couple of things that concern me. besides the injuries, he's a guy who's surrounded by immense talent at every position. Some of that ball placement is a little bit off, and those receivers bail him out a little bit. But he's a quick processor to get that out of those RPOs. So if you're willing to cater an offense to him, you might have something. I think that this quarterback class overall is weaker than people think it is. Joe Burrow, one-year wonder. Justin Herbert's got some maturity questions, and you look around to these other guys like Brom and Eason, those are project types. So, if you believe Tua is the guy, spend the pick. If you don't, then pass and keep building your roster and wait for the next year.
It's interesting that you bring that up, that the class is not as strong as some people would think. And Joe Burrow, is it more about Trubisky and Mark Sanchez that scare the crap out of you?
Well, there's that, and then, a statistic that I think most people are overlooking is that, 54% of Joe Burrow's yardage comes on yardage after the catch, which means he's doing a lot of dinking and dunking, letting those track star receivers at LSU make plays on the ball. That leads the SEC, by the way, as far as being the lowest number of air yards per pass out of any quarterback. So that's something that's concerning. Plus, again, one-year wonders, that always scares me a little bit. What's he going to be in the pros if he's only got 1 year of excellence at the collegiate level?
And Benjamin Allbright, by the way, joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Allbright NFL. Benjamin, what are the maturity issues that you hear about Justin Herbert? Because personally, for me, he just doesn't wow me, man. I just don't see dog in him. I don't see those big moments, those big comebacks, those big wins. I just don't see that from the kid. He doesn't convince me by his play. What do you hear about his maturity?
Well, there's some scouts I talked to when I was out in Oregon last month, and I had the opportunity to sit down with them. They're concerned about his ability to command an NFL locker room. He went back to school on the advice of scouts who said he might be a little too immature to command men in the huddle. And so, you got a guy who likes to get out and have some fun and might not be the type of guy who's as serious and as committed to his craft maybe as he needs to be. And, that concerns guys, a guy who walks into a locker room and is going to have veterans laugh at him instead of saying, okay, let's take us down the field. Now, first time he gets on the field, if he does drive him down there, that might erase some of that. But, we've seen specifically here in Denver a situation like that before, a kid named Paxton Lynch. So, there's concern here around that maturity level. All
right. Well, listen, I'm a draft guy too, and I'll give you two other guys that I used to hear stuff like that, and it all came through. Ryan Mallett and Tyler Bray. Those are two guys that they came into the draft process with a lot of immaturity, and it's a shame because Tyler Bray from Tennessee, that kid had an NFL arm. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that guy had an NFL arm. He just wasn't a good dude.
Yeah, I remember. I seem to recall him a story about him from a third-story window throwing bottles and cans down at cars, and just all kinds of stuff in college. Being a knucklehead. Mallett was another guy that had a $1 million arm and a 10-cent head. So, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
scouts used to tell me he would lead the drinking games at the bars and that's
something similar with Herbert.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that happens. That's the interesting part. When you get to hit the road, you get some interesting stories. Benjamin Allbright joining us here on the program, and you can follow him on Twitter at Allbright NFL. Is there a guy that might be going under the radar for you? An Anthony Gordon, somebody out there that you might like? Give me somebody.
Utah State's Jordan Love. I think he's got all the ability. He's not surrounded by elite talent. Obviously, playing at Utah State, you're not going to have a lot of great talent around you, but he makes the most of it. I think if you've got an opportunity where you've got a veteran who's going to be on his last year, maybe last 2 years of his deal, and you've got some time to grow him, I think Jordan Love could absolutely be a guy you could groom and develop and be a star in the league. Yeah, that it's all that. That's what it is, isn't it, Benjamin? Because every time I've watched actually several Utah State games this year, and he just has he has these moments where he makes a couple of these passes that you just get, wow, okay, this is special, but he just doesn't put a lot of points on the board. They're not very competitive. It's really all about that. The talent around Utah State is really bad right now, right?
It has to be, right?
Yeah, he's carrying that team, and it's a tough go. Anytime you get a non-Power 5 quarterback who's better than the talent around him, it's just so tough because those guys are doing everything they can to carry that team, and sometimes you just don't have the receivers that can get open or an offensive line that can block for you, and it just it's hit or miss tape, and then those guys they get blamed for the mistakes of their teammates. So.
All right, Benjamin, what do you think about Jacob Eason? Some people are that's one of those guys that people kind of like. Does he convince you?
Yeah, outside of Love, I would say that he's probably my favorite, air quotes, project quarterback. I don't think he's a day one starter. Love the tools. He's obviously there in a pro concept offense there at Washington. But I think he's a guy that probably needs a year of seasoning or two before you deploy him. I think he can be a starter in the league, mid-tier starter type. I don't know that he's ever going to be an elite talent in the league, but he definitely can be a guy that can start for a couple of years.
How about Fromm? He has not convinced me out of Georgia. How about you?
Yeah, exact same. I see a guy who's got the tools, but there's something off. He's long on the reads, slow on the release, slow getting the ball out, and I'm not convinced. Those are things you can't have at the NFL level and be successful. You got to get off that first read quick. You've got to be able to get the ball out quick because everybody's fast and they're all coming downhill after you, and you're hanging on to the ball. You're going to eat a lot of sacks.
Benjamin, where are you with Lamar Jackson? Because, one, he's proving me wrong so far, but I still have a problem seeing this working on a long-term basis. I don't know how a quarterback is going to run 200 times a season staying healthy. And I know that he's fast and I know he's quick, but I saw Haloti Ngata catch up to RG3 one day. And that's what I fear with this kid, that it is phenomenal what they're doing and they are fooling everybody right now, but I just have a feeling that this gravy train will end because you can't have a quarterback running 200 times a season.
Well, right. You can't have a running back run that many times. He'll get worn down. Go back and look at Larry Johnson. Got one season of 300 carries, and nobody heard from him again. I can tell you from personal experience, being a thin, fast quarterback is really fun until a big, fast dude catches you, and then it is not. And so, with Lamar, it's electric. It's exciting, and he's absolutely exceeding everybody's expectations. But I think the first thing is exactly that. I don't know how sustainable it is long term. And the second thing is what happens when Greg Roman moves on. Greg Roman is the guy who made Tyrod Taylor, made Colin Kaepernick, and is now making Lamar Jackson. And I tell you, man, he is so creative and uses those mobile quarterbacks so well. A lot of other offensive coordinators don't do that. So I'm hesitant to see when he gets head coaching offers and he leaves, what's going to happen to Lamar Jackson. Are they going to have as exciting an offensive coordinator? Are they going to fall back into the Marty Morningwigs of the world and he fades into oblivion?
Wow, that is a great point. I did not realize that about Roman and his connections with the other guys and what he's done with Lamar. And Benjamin, here's the amazing part, is we've had a whole season since last year, but now we've had 12 games, and defensive coordinators haven't been able to figure out how to slow this thing down. Are you amazed with that they haven't all the way to this point?
Well, yes and no. I mean, once you get an off season for guys to look at tape, they'll figure something out and throw it at him. The other part of this is, when you've got a dynamic athlete like that, it's not just about scheming to stop him, because you have to have great gap discipline. You've got to have great contained discipline, or else he's going to be elusive and slip out of that. And so it's a combination of scheming to stop him and making sure your players are sound and disciplined on each play to make sure they execute that, because one slip up and that guy's taking the crease and he's running 40 yards. Yeah,
and although I got to say this, I think we don't have to wait till next year, Benjamin. I think, well, technically it will be next year because it'll be in January. I think Belichick played vanilla against them the first time. He said, all right, we're going to play them straight up. We win, we don't, we move on. I'm not going to whip out what I would want to use on them until we meet them in the playoffs. Because if they're in the playoffs, then I'm going to use it. Why show them now and then they're ready for me again in the playoffs? I think Belichick held back in their first meeting. You think that's possible?
Well, Belichick is definitely known for experimenting and, maybe trying things in the regular season to see what works, what doesn't, and then carrying those concepts over into the playoffs. So I think you might be onto something. With regard to the Super Bowl game, he took Vic Fangio's game plan when Fangio was with the Bears and shut down that cutback on wide zone against the Rams, and the Rams haven't been the same since. So, he's definitely a guy who will kind of lay in the weeds, try a few things here or there, and then you get to the playoffs and he unloads it on you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, Benjamin, thank you for joining us. Follow him on Twitter at Allbright NFL. You can catch his work at KOA Colorado, iHeartMedia. Benjamin, thank you for taking some time, my man. Look forward to maybe we'll run into each other in the Senior Bowl down the line, my man. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be there. Looking forward to it.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. Benjamin Allbright. Good stuff there. Excellent conversation. How about the Herbert stuff? I did not know about that lack of maturity. See, I know stories about Ryan Mallett. I know stories once I get to the offseason.
That's what I was just going to say. You haven't had that chance.
I haven't had that
to
chance.
have those intimate talks
I
and
haven't
find
had
out the dirt.
Right. I haven't been able to find out that dirt. But it's like, because I remember Dolphins fans would tell me about Ryan Mallett, and I would tell them, no. And Tyler Bray was the same thing. When he was coming out, I was told, he's not a good dude, and all that stuff. And so...
See, that's why you need to put your request and specific information, put it on hold, give it a couple months, let us do our thing, and let find out like he always does dirt on people.
We try. We'll find out the dirt that we can on certain people. But listen to that part on Herbert. That for those of you that are like, well, if you're not going to get two of them, maybe we got to look at Herbert. Well, if Herbert, maybe that's why he hasn't had those big moments. Maybe that's why he doesn't beat big-time teams. That's why he hasn't accomplished big-time things at Oregon. He's not mature enough.
I got to be honest, though. The game that I saw, the whole game, was the USC game last year, that they should have wiped the floor with them.
Unimpressive.
And, the way the looseness that he carried the ball and fumbled and
that too.
Get in the pile.
He had several fumbles.
They're just
that year.
There was this nonchalant body language to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Man. And that's good stuff there. That's good information from Benjamin Allbright. And hopefully those of you out there were able to enjoy that interview with Allbright.